Hello everyone. In this lecture video, we will going to talk about the introduction and key definition in statistics. To start, let's define statistics. The science of statistics deals with the collection, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data. There are two basic branches of statistics, namely the descriptive and inferential. Descriptive statistics involves organizing and summarizing data. There are two general ways on how you will going to summarize a data. It can be by using graphs or numerical values, such as averages. The next one, inferential statistics uses probability to determine how confident we can be that our conclusions are correct. Effective interpretation of data is based on good procedures for producing data and thoughtful examination of data. The goal of statistics is not to perform numerous calculation using the formulas, but to gain an understanding of your data. Now that we know the basic definitions of statistics, let us talk about some key terms. In statistics, we generally would want to study a population. You can think of a population as a collection of persons, things, or objects under study. So when we want to study a population, we usually select a sample, whereas the idea of sampling is to select a portion or a subset of a larger population and study that portion to gain information about the population. For the sample data, we can calculate a statistic. A statistic is a measurement found using the sample. Commonly, it will be represented as X bar, which is the average of the sample. Then, if we are referring to a population, a parameter will be established. A parameter is a measurement found using the population. It is commonly denoted as mu, which is the average of the population. A parameter is a number that represents a property of a population. So for example, we are talking about the math classes to be our population, then the average number of points earned per students over all the math classes is an example of a parameter. We can now say that a population is the collection of all members being studied. A representative sample, it is a sample that contains the characteristics of the population. We are interested in both the sample statistics and the population parameter in inferential statistics. Later on, we will going to use the sample statistic to test the validity of the established population parameter. In statistics, we will going to encounter a variable. A variable can be denoted by capital letters such as X and Y, which is basically a characteristics of interest for each person or thing in a population. It can be a numerical or it can be a categorical variables. When we say that a variable is a numerical one, it takes on numerical values with equal units such as weight in pounds and time in hours. Whereas for categorical variables, this pertains to the place the person or thing into a category. Now let's take this example to have a better understanding on the key definition that we will going to use for statistics. We should be able to determine what is the population, sample, parameter, statistic, variable, and data. For the population, we will going to get all the first year BSA students attending FEU college. The 100 first-year students at the FEU college will be our sample for this scenario. For our parameter, it will be the average amount of money spent by the first-year college students at FEU college, which will be represented by mu. Since statistic pertains to the sample, then it will be the average of the money spent by the first year. We will going to limit it to the 100 first year student at the college. In this case, this will be represented by the X bar. For the variable, we will going to use X, and that will be equal to the amount of money spent by one first year student attending FEU college. For the data, this will pertain to the actual peso amount spent by the first year students. 150 pesos, 200 pesos, and 225 pesos. Now let's go to the example number 2. In this example, we will also going to determine the population, sample, parameter, statistic, variable, and data on the case above. For the population, we will going to include all the smartphones containing dummies and all of the smartphones that we have used for the testing. For the sample, we will going to get the 75 randomly selected smartphones. Then for the parameter, since we are talking about the population, we will going to get the proportion of phone dummies in the population. For the statistic, we will going to get the proportion of smartphones in the sample. In this case, the parameter will be represented again by the sign mu, and the statistic will be represented by the X bar. And the statistic, the proportion of the smartphones will be coming from the 75 randomly selected smartphones. Then for the variable, we will going to use X to be the number of smartphones that will fail the test. Then for our data, we will going to have here the probability wherein if some of the smartphones will going to fail the test or if some will not going to fail. We will going to label them as failed or working smartphones. Just a recap on example number 1 and example number 2. When we are talking about the population, we are referring to the whole group that will be studied. And for the sample, we will going to get a portion or a subset of the population. Parameter is referring to the population, while a statistic is referring to a sample. A variable, it can be any letter, it can be a numerical, or it can be a categorical. And data, it can be a number or words that will represent the actual values of a variable. That's the end of our lecture video for the introduction to statistics. Thank you all for watching.